different. And I'll try to explain with a visual aid, and it'll be a visual aid where I went ahead and reran the code that you submitted on a previous show. I believe the only show on Non Sequitur about where you submitted your code. J is the Messiah. I believe that was the code that you're referring to now.
You're clipping again. You might have to. I think you're gonna have to drop and come back in because it's starting to clip again. Or we're getting every other word.
And if you're running anything in the background, close any other external processes you're not using. Makes a difference.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a CPU thing, I think. Those of you who are just joining us while he refreshes, we have Clark Isaac, who is the civil liaison officer from the Ecumenical Order of Christ, the followers of Lord Rayel, and we're kind of getting into some of the aspects of that. So as soon as he gets back, we will continue and see where we go from here. Clark, are you back with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes. That sounds a little bit better.
Is that clear? Okay. All right. So to respond to what you said, or is it Mr. Bowen or Dr. Bowen? How do I refer to you?
Dr. Bowen.
However, you can call me Josh if you like.
Whatever you would prefer. So, Josh, what you mentioned before, how our search term and the outlining terms around that were similar to what you were doing. It's completely different. And I'm going to show you examples with what the result of a search that I did in regards to what Cardinal Richard Ruff had done. He had done what you did earlier about being on Steemit and saying that it said shameful J. Bowen, the Messiah. Well, I went ahead and searched that, and there were connecting terms, and there was also scripture occurrence, which was very relevant to what had occurred. Now, you can take it for what it's worth, but I'm going to explain to you the difference and how this is sound Torah code researching, Bible code researching in this case, and how it applies to what God had intended, and I'll explain why that we should limit it to that specifically. Can we go ahead and put up the image that's titled Pedendum, parentheses, Shame J. Bowen, the Messiah?
All right. What's it look like so that Dave can kind of pull that up?
Sure. Give me a second. I have to pull it up by file name here. What is it called again?
Pedendum, parentheses, shame, end parentheses, J. Bowen, the Messiah.
Did you say...
As a side note, while he's doing that, did you ever find that Hebrew word in the Hebrew Bible?
Addendum.
Addendum?
The pedendum, P-E-N.
Oh.
The word for external genitals.
Well, I don't know that word in Hebrew, sorry.
Oh. No, in English.
No, you would only need to search for that in English if you're looking it up on your computer. The image.
The problem is, let me relate this to you.
Okay.
Is that it's I have to do it by number in the software, and these are not numerical in order; they're alphabetical. So I have to.
What's it look like?
It looks like a Bible code.
They all look like Bible codes.
Yeah, exactly. This one doesn't have any extra images on it. On the top right, it says Judges to Second Chronicles. On the top right, it also has a skip of 51,057 letters. The title is Pedendum, Shame, J. Bowen, the Messiah.
Okay, let's see. Dave, is there not a way to look at the file names on those?
I believe that's the one. It's a little bit blurry on my screen, but I'll go ahead and pull up one on the computer here. So you can see here that everything looks a whole lot cleaner and nicely put together. That's not just a aesthetically pleasing thing. It's actually, there's a reason for that. Now, what you see here is there's no extra spacing between the letters, and every single one of these Hebrew words, these 5 letters. That is a standard that we have put on our own group to reduce the amount of statistical variables. So because this is considered mathematical science and it's not just bullshit. This is actually something that world governments have used as a verifiable means of cipher communications that's highly advanced, that countries are still having difficulty decoding, and also verifiable scientific fact by mathematicians such as Eliyahu Rips. And this is a world-renowned mathematician, and he is well beyond anyone's field that's in this discussion. And he's verified this as sound science, mathematical science. And many of the odds in these codes are against random chance of over 1 in a million. Now, in this case,
so can I
when
pause
we look
for a
at
second? Let me pause for a second to address that. So I apologize, but I just don't want to get away from that. So this has been prepared in paper format or monograph and presented at a conference. So Torah code or Tanakh code has been presented and peer reviewed. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say conference, but it has been peer reviewed. Yes.
Okay. So can you provide that citation?
No, I don't. May I continue?
Okay. I'd like to see the citation. I don't mean to be a dick here, but when you say things like that it's world renowned or that mathematics, whatever, in that when you go into that field, you have to then say, here is the citation where it has been peer reviewed. In this monograph, you can find it. Somebody wrote their dissertation on it, and here it is.
You're saying that it must be peer reviewed and all that, but I'm telling you the facts that it has been pioneered. This research has been pioneered by a world-renowned mathematician known as Eliyahu Rips. That is a fact.
Peer-reviewed citation. Okay. That's all I need. If you don't have it, that's okay.
That's what you need, but I'm telling you a fact, and you can look up these facts yourself, or you can deny them all you like. If you require more evidence, then that's beyond my ability right now.
You did just say it's been peer reviewed, though. Like you just said
that.
Yeah,
with all due respect, if you say something is peer reviewed, that's a fact, you need to produce the peer reviewed citation. That's just an entailment.
Okay. So when you say peer reviewed citation at a conference, the difference between that and just simply reviewed. There's a lot of people.
Generally, conferences are where people do that sort of initial presentation of a paper.
Generally.
Let's not do this, though.
It doesn't need to be at a conference. Generally, something that's presented as a paper at a conference then goes into an edited volume, or it goes into a reputable journal series. So all I'm saying is I'd like the citation for the peer-reviewed article or monograph or whatever it is that you want to provide for Torah code or Tanakh code and how you're using it and the methodology. I've got my pen ready to go.
Would you like to restate?
Well, I'd like to finish the point before I was rudely interrupted. I know that's a standard on this show.
Hold on, everybody. Listen, this is a important point because you said peer reviewed, and we can't just let you break away from that. So either it was peer reviewed or it wasn't peer reviewed. Which of the two was it? If you misspoke, that's fine. That happens all the time. But we need to know if that was peer reviewed or not. Like that's not a point that we're gonna skate across.
I am blessed to have the support of the clergy here giving me some information, and they have given me some peer review educational material on this.
Okay.
Sites.math.washington.edu on the topic of Bible code. There's a public peer review right there. I can give you the URL link, but I'm putting that link right now.
Okay. What did you ask, Dr. Paul?
Okay, this is
journal series is that?
By Doram Whitsum, Eliyahu Rips, Yoav Rosenberg, a published article Journal of Statistical Science. It was equidistant letter sequences
what is that study
of Genesis.
What's that?
It was entitled The Equidistant Sequences in the Book of Genesis. Evidence of
and that study
Bible code.
That study shows what?
Evidence proving the Bible code, in this case the Torah code. An equidistant letter skip.
You know that. You know that's what it's doing. It's proving your methodology.
It's proving that the excuse me. I'll go ahead and scroll through this just so we can get to the conclusion of this. Scientific statistical discussion on Torah codes. So there's a section on probability and also on monkey texts. I'm going to monkey text.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit, Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It's probably because I had to load this page, and you're asking for
Gotcha.
peer review documentation that wasn't revealed because it's not on my browser ready. So here we go. In order to evaluate whether an effect is occurring in a text from what would have happened by chance in an ordinary text, that the population of ordinary text be defined. We call such a population ordinary monkey text to emphasize that the monkey text population, the null hypothesis of no Torah code effect, is applicable. For the Torah text to be special with regards to the Torah codes, it must mean that the strength of an encoding is significantly higher. The ELS of logically stated keywords are in a relatively more compact arrangement in the Torah text.
I can't hear him. Is he breaking up to you?
All right. I'll repeat it again.
Clark. Let's try this. What we'll do is we'll put give us a slide or whatever to put up. I think what might help you if you turn your camera off, that's going to put your bandwidth all to your audio, and we'll be able to at least hear you. But right now we're catching every other word that you're saying, and it's just not it's not
all
coming
right.
across.
Is that better?
Smooth. That's a lot better.
Is that better? Okay.
That's a lot better.
We'll continue the show like this. Hopefully, this will be better for people to understand. I'm going to read an excerpt from the monkey text section of this peer-reviewed technical discussion of the Torah code submitted by the aforementioned experts. Okay? For the Torah text to be special with regards to Torah codes, it must mean that the strength of an encoding is significantly higher. The ELS of logically, historically related keywords are in a relatively more compact arrangement in the Torah text than in the text of the monkey text population. Now, to define again what monkey text is, just in case you didn't hear that from before, I'm going to start from the beginning. In order to evaluate whether an effect is occurring in the Torah text different from what would happen by chance in an ordinary text, it is required that the population of ordinary texts be defined. We call such a population of ordinary texts monkey texts to emphasize that in monkey text population, the null hypothesis of no Torah code effect is applicable. So I'm going to go back to what I said before, and what I'm reading here, it says the ELS of logically, historically related keywords that are in a relatively more compact arrangement in the Torah text. So I'm just going to stop right there. Relatively compact arrangement. Now, what you had shown us was the exact opposite of that. And what I am showing you now, if we can go back to the image of the Torah code research, which we had done correctly on your name, Josh, J. Bowen, what you call the Messiah there. Now, what does God say about this Torah code, or this Bible code, excuse me? It says furtherance in those green letters. Now, furtherance is essentially you trying to achieve your own ends. That's exactly what that means. And clapping
Sorry, let
wire,
me just pause
which is
you for a second. So you're saying, if I can just be clear, you're saying that this center code that says Membeit Shin J Bowen Hamashiach, you're saying that that's a valid code.
This is the code that you ran, and we found extensions.
Sorry, yes or no is all I'm looking for. Is that a valid code?
The code that you submitted was invalid, but the code that I'm showing you now
I'm sorry,
is...
the one that is up on the screen right now that you have run, that center line that says,
as a valid
as you
Bible
translated
code.
it, a shameful thing is J. Bowen the Messiah. This is a valid code. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, may I continue, or are you going to interrupt me again?
Please do. I just want to make sure that's there for everybody.
I'm not at all